You sound like the nuns in school.
Okay, I don't know either. We are live. We are recording. Phone lines are open. Go for it.
Thank you, Matt, and welcome to the East Hampton Town Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for April 18th, 2023. We have one canceled public hearing this evening, and that is Joseph F. Scalia, 23 Pond Lane in Springs, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-23-1-3. And we have two scheduled public hearings. I'll read the first one into the record. First hearing is James DeMartis at 18 School Street in Springs, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-80-3-18. Size and location is 10,519.11 square feet at 18 School Street in Springs. Description is to allow an existing 280 square foot garage to remain within rear yard lot line setbacks and outside of the town's pyramid regulations. The relief sought is two variances are required for this application. One variance of 1.4 feet from 255-1110 of the town code is required to allow the garage to remain 8.6 feet from the rear yard lot line where 10-foot setback is required. One variance of approximately 0.5 feet from 255-1172D of the town code is required to allow the garage to remain approximately 0.5 feet outside of the town's pyramid regulations and any other relief necessary. Zoning district is A residence, Zone X, flood zone, and the secret class is type 2. And council, do we have a proper affidavit of service and posting?
We do. Pursuant to section 255-9-23 of the Town of East Hampton Code, we have both certified mailings, we have a certified mailing on April 5th, 2023, and a posting on April 3rd, 2023, at least 10 days prior to today's public hearing.
Thank you. And this is in member Savarise's.
Yes, it is. This is the official notice of public hearing. This is walking down the driveway. This property is on the south side of School Street. I'm coming from School Street, walking down the driveway. These are out of order, but that's okay. This is the rear of the residence. Next, please. This is the front. I'm actually taking this photo standing on School Street. I don't know what that structure is there. There's something under that bag, but this is the front of the residence. This is the path. There's a little walkway that leads to the rear, and this is where the garage/shed is located. This is the garage shed that's in question this evening. And I just took it from different directions. You can see how close it is to the side yard. This is actually the adjoining property owner's garage. Just trying to give you a sense of the neighborhood. This is the adjoining property owner, their house. This is the house directly on the other side. These homes all front on School Street. This is just another angle of the front of the residence.
Thank you.
And there's the area.
Do we have the applicant or the agent? Come on up.
Hi,
You?
I'm James.
Yeah, you want to announce your name and address?
Sure, James DeMartis, 18 School Street.
All right. And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Certainly, yes, I do.
Go for it.
So thanks for reviewing my appeal. I, out of carelessness and naivete, laid out the footing for my shed. It's called the Braxton Shed, but it does house a single car on my own, not fully realizing that when I laid it out, that I was encroaching on one boundary. And you mentioned that property adjacent with the garage. Those are my neighbors who have actually written a letter on my behalf.
Yes,
So
we have it in the file.
they're the owners of the offending border, and they're supporting my appeal. So I laid it out. I was a foot and a half off the correct line, and I proceeded to have the foundation poured, or it's just a slab. And then I erected this prefab shed on my own, and then realized after the inspection that I had committed this error. So that's where we are today. It was completely innocent. I complied with the 10-foot setbacks front and back, and I thought I had on the rear, but that angle just encroaches, as
So
you can see.
the encroachment is on that corner of the building. It's not the entire
Exactly.
building. Is that correct?
Say again?
It's not the entire structure.
No.
It's just
May I?
the one corner.
May I point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question
Yeah,
too.
it's, well, it's right here.
Right.
That's the infraction. I think if you came forward about 6 feet, it would comply. And then as a result of being too close here, it violates the pyramid code by a half an inch. So it was really just my fault, poor layout. I thought I was complying, and it was news to me when it was inspected.
While you're there, Mr. DeMartis, could you show me where on the property is the septic system?
Sure. There's, I believe there's one here in this parking area, and there's
Okay.
another back here. Actually, in the picture, if you want to go back there, in the backyard, there's
The
a
rear of
big
the property?
steel kettle.
Yes.
Not in this picture, if you keep,
I know the one he means, yeah. Keep going.
Pissed.
there's one right here, right? See that? You can just
Okay.
make out. There's one there, and there's one under this car.
Okay.
James,
Yes.
how are you? The,
Good, thank you.
you said you were half an inch on the pyramid, but you're actually 6 inches. It's half a foot, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's half a
it's
foot.
0.5 feet.
It's
Oh,
0.5
then I'm
feet.
sorry, I misread that.
It's okay.
I,
Make it clear for the record that that's exactly
Oh,
what it is.
okay,
Because here
thank
it's
you.
listed as 0.5 feet, not 0.5 inches.
Oh, my mistake.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
I'm fine.
Nope.
No?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Tyler?
Good evening, Tyler Borsak for the Planning Department.
Tyler, do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Just to note, it's a fairly straightforward application, 2 variances, one from the rear yard, and that slight pyramid variance, obviously, that was discussed. Just to note, there was a building permit issued in 2021. So they did have a building permit in place prior to realizing that it was located in within the rear yard setbacks. Other than that, the board did receive that letter. And that's really, I think that all that needs to be noted. Everything else I think was that was relevant was stated already. So I can be available for any questions you might have. But that's about it.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Tyler?
No.
Thank you, Tyler. Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak on behalf of this application? Matt, anybody on the phone?
You have 0 callers. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to close this out?
Sure. In the matter of the application of James D. Martis, 18 School Street in Springs, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-80-3-18, I make a motion that we close the public hearing and record.
A second.
I concur.
I concur. Thank you. Thank you, James. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have Stephanie Bauer at 65 Wyandanch Lane in Amagansett, Suffolk Tax Map Number 300-176-6-2. The size and location is 8,000 square feet at 65 Wyandanch Lane in Beach Hampton, Section Number 1, Block 14, Lots 71 through 74, Map Number 1203 in Amagansett. The description is to remove existing decking and shed, construct a 234 square foot, 1-story addition with decking, reconstruct existing decking and construct an outdoor shower, allow a driveway expansion to remain, replace windows and doors, make interior alterations, and upgrade the sanitary system within setbacks and jurisdiction of freshwater wetlands. The relief sought is a natural resources special permit pursuant to 255, 420 of the Town Code, and 3 variances are required for this application. Variances of 54 feet, 34 feet, and 33 feet from 255, 430 of the Town Code are required to construct a decking 46 feet, addition 66 feet, and outdoor shower 67 feet, respectively, from freshwater wetlands where 100-foot setbacks are required and any other relief necessary. The zoning district is B residence, AE flood zone, elevation 10, and the secret class is type 2. Council, do we have a proper affidavit of service and posting?
We do pursuant to Town of East Hampton Code, Section 255-9-23. We have both certified mailings and postings performed on April 3rd, 2023, 10 days prior to today's hearing.
Thank you. Member McGivern.
This is a picture of the posting. It was properly posted. The car, I don't know if anyone was home, but there was a car in the driveway, which the TAM mentions that the driveway was enlarged. And this is, I'm standing on Wyandanch facing the house. Next. That's looking down the street. You can see my car. That's towards Montauk Highway. And the next picture is going the other way towards the ocean. Next. Now I'm walking towards the north. I'm walking northwest towards the side of the house. Next. That's a close-up of the side of the house. Next. These doors are on the side of the house. It's sort of interesting. The house is raised, so there's a raised walkway to get into the house. Next. That's going down the walkway. Oh, and in the left-hand corner is a outdoor shower that I guess they're proposing to move to the back corner and make smaller. Next. That's the outdoor shower. Not a very good picture, sorry. Next. It's the outdoor shower. Next. Now I'm walking down the ramp towards the back of the house. Next. This is the back of the house. So this runs parallel to Wyandanch. And you can't really, well, when I was there, what's interesting, this isn't grass, you see, it's more like moss. Next. That's the plastic shed that I guess they're proposing to remove in the middle of the back of the property. Next. That's walking towards the back corner, which would be the northeast corner. Next. This is going, oh, that's more of the back of the house. Oh, there's a crawl space. I took a picture of you can see sort of doors for a crawl space. Next. That's the moss. Next. This is the side of the house. Next. This is the deck that sort of is inset into the house. The house is like a U shape, and there's a deck that sits in the middle. And you can see it's raised. Next. That's more of the deck. Next. Next. Now I've gone around to this front of the side of the house, and there's wire fencing, like they have a dog and maybe they let it out in the front yard or something. Next. That's just the fencing and the front yard taken from the side. You can see the black car that was in the original photo, and the driveway is across in the background. Next. That's the front of the house. And there's gravel where I guess they used to park. Next. That's it, yeah.
Thank you. Britton, how are you?
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman, members of the board.
You swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I'm Britton Bistrian here tonight representing Stephanie Bauer, owner of 65 Wine Dance Lane in Beach Hampton. As seen in the field report, the project in front of you is a modest application to construct a 234 square foot addition in an area which currently contains decking, that elevated decking on the north side of the house that you saw, to rebuild areas of existing decking, construct an outdoor shower, legalize a slight enlargement of the driveway, which was to fit the 2 code required parking spaces on site, remove a shed, and an elective upgrade of a conventional septic system to a low nitrogen wastewater treatment system. This parcel has never undergone zoning board review. Project is very minor, 234 square feet. And I believe it's very in keeping with the cottage style, 1-story small residences as was historically seen in the Beach Hampton area of Amagansett. A 234 square foot living space increase on a 1,500 approximately square foot house is modest by definition. There's no additional rooms, just a small living space increase of about 5 feet on the north side. The sanitary upgrade is not triggered in this circumstance because of the threshold. There's no additional rooms, no additional bedrooms, and obviously at 234 square feet, we're nowhere near substantial reconstruction. So in this particular circumstance, which the board hasn't seen a lot of, because usually people are asking for more than 50% or not something a lot more significant than this is actually an elective upgrade. So it can be considered significant mitigation for the requested variances. There is no area on this parcel due to its, typical Beach Hampton size where you could meet 100-foot setback. In addition, in Tyler's memo, the owner was comfortable with the revegetation as he suggested in the sketch that he submitted to your file, which also had the red sort of project limiting fence. We accept that condition to balance the variances. And all in all, I think it's a pretty laudable application. It's a modest size. There's huge mitigation between the septic and the re-veg, and should be a model for other small lots in Beach Hampton who want to have, some changes made to their residences. To my knowledge, no letters were submitted to the file. I did speak with a neighbor on the east side of the residence who did not voice any concerns about the project scope. I don't know if you have any callers on the phone or if you have any questions for me, but it's a pretty straightforward application.
The TAM refers to revegetation and clearing, but the survey shows the clearing area kind of tight. Can you speak to the difference there?
Yes, Tyler the survey is really kind of busy and hard to read. So we are in the process. It had been requested in the TAM to upgrade date both the clearing, the driveway areas, and put that proposed revegetation on the survey. So before the board closes this record, I'd just like to have that be a current clearing re-veg survey that you can review. It's not going to substantially change. Other than that, just area of re-veg.
No, but in other words, at the end of the day, you would comply with that clearing, with town's definition of clearing for that boundary line, for that clearing boundary.
Are you talking about the southern boundary line
Yes.
underneath those sort of trees?
Yeah.
Yes, that's, it has an upper story and the understory as shown is more of a
Right.
moss. I think that's.
Yeah, I didn't know how else. It's
So
mossy.
we can put some shrubbery and other sort of wetland style, medium tiered vegetation there. It was basically the swath of the whole southern side of the property. Perfect. That's it right there.
Anybody else have any
Is that
questions?
making the driveway smaller? Are you giving up some of that driveway?
No, I'm always afraid to touch this. The driveway is up here and the re-veg is here. They're remote from one another.
Anybody else have any questions?
Pretty straightforward.
Read, Derek?
Just a lot bigger, the driveway in the photos than it did in here. Okay.
Well, this is, typical of East Hampton with those dirt roads, the driveway, there's a big section between the property line and the
Okay.
dirt road.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tyler?
Tyler Borsak for the planning department again. I don't want to go over too much because it's a fairly straightforward project. There are some significant wetlands within jurisdiction. There are also wetlands off to the west, a large wetland off to the west. The wetlands to the south of this property contain standing water at times. It was there when I was there both times. There was standing water in those wetlands. So there's some pretty significant wetlands in the area. It causes some difficulties in doing really any construction on this property. But what they're proposing is fairly minor change, a 5.5-foot extension to the north, no new rooms, just extending the existing rooms. The existing residence is set back only 21.7 feet from wetlands. So obviously it's a very constrained property. But the project before the board is very minor and really in the most conforming location they can fit on the property. They do get side yard setback relief from the 4/10 rule. They're allowed to go to 12.8 feet utilizing that, and that's what they're utilizing. They don't need pyramid variances, so there's no variances required other than from the wetlands, which again, they're in the most conforming location that they can fit. They're proposing the sanitary system upgrade really in the most conforming location they can probably fit as the property is now, which should be a significant upgrade over what's there right now. They likely don't meet separation to groundwater now. This one will. Plus, upgrading to an IA system is a significant improvement as well. The expansion of the driveway, which was sort of referenced, isn't shown on the survey right now, but it was extended slightly larger to the south. So that should be included on the approved survey. Not a significant difference, but it should be represented. And the applicant seems fine with the mitigation we proposed, which was the revegetation along the south to help beef up that buffer between the wetlands and the improvements. There's really not much understory there, as you can see in the photos. It's really just moss. There is some trees and upper story canopy stuff, but not a significant amount of runoff mitigation there. So that would be a significant improvement as well in the existing conditions. Other than that, I can answer any questions you might have.
Is there a number associated with the larger driveway? You said it's slightly larger, slightly.
I mean, I can take a guess based on the aerial images, but it's not on the survey, so I can't give you a set in stone number.
We'll wait for the survey.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Prior to decision, we're waiting.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Because it also could include the proposed revegetation and the clearing boundary. The new survey?
To show a proposed revegetation area. Yeah. I did the existing clearing area on there. I don't think was an accurate representation of what is on the property at this point in time, but revegetating that would obviously be a significant improvement. The property has been cleared for a long, long time. That understory, it may just be the surveyor was counting the canopy as uncleared when in reality it probably should be. But besides that, I think it's an improvement for the re-veg.
Thank you. Anybody else have any
You're
questions?
okay with that driveway being that large?
I don't think it's a significant increase in the driveway. It looked like it was more just squaring things off and further to the south. I can pull up the aerial if you'd like to see the difference between the two. It shouldn't be that difficult. So that's 2022. And then I guess back at like 2018 would be the easiest. So you had like a 1.5 maybe cars, and now you can probably fit 2, 3.
Yeah.
So, it's bigger, but not a huge difference.
Thank you. Any other questions for Tyler? Anybody in the public would like to speak? Anybody on the phone, Matt?
You have 0 calls on the line. Thank you.
Now, we're waiting on a survey. Britton, you want to speak? Come on up. How long do you think you need?
Let's hold it open for 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
And if I need more time, I'll request it, but I anticipate we should have the survey at the beginning of next week. So like 2 weeks from today would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, want to make a motion?
In the matter of Stephanie Bauer, 65 Wyandanch Lane, Amagansett, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-176-06-02, I make a motion to close the public hearing and leave the public record open for 2 weeks for an updated survey with a revegetation plan showing.
I'll second that.
I concur.
I concur.
I concur. Thank you. All right, we have a post-hearing decision, and I'll read that into this. This is, Tyler, I believe this was a variance without a hearing.
Yes.
So we have James A. Cooper Jr. at 29 19th Street in Spring, Suffolk, tax map number 300-82-2-6.3, and it is to allow a pool patio to remain 18.5 feet from the side yard lot line setback where 20 foot is required. Denise.
Well, I'm going to recuse myself because one of my properties abuts this property. I was properly noticed, so I'm not going to be able to participate.
Thank you. I know we've had a TAM delivered to us. Tyler, you want to give us a brief update of this?
So this went variance without a hearing. It met the criteria for such. It's a 1.5 foot variance from this property line here. They had a building permit to construct the swimming pool and patio in a conforming location, but it was the patio itself was actually constructed slightly beyond the 20-foot allowable limit. There's sufficient screening along this property line, so I don't think there's any real significant mitigation to be done on this one, and I think that's about it. It's pretty straightforward.
So
Thank you.
this came up in February, this one, right? And then you had the posting?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Now, Tyler, the process, just to remind everybody, the process for variance without a hearing is it's noticed twice the amount of time. Is that?
That's only for an administrative application.
Say that again?
That's only for administrative, like
Oh,
natural resource
administrative.
special permit
So this-
applications.
okay,
For
so-
a variance without a hearing, it's your standard 10-day notice
Same
period,
day,
as it is
okay.
for any variance application.
And there's
They
been
just
no,
don't have a hearing.
and no public comment or anything like that?
Right, there hasn't been any public comment.
Okay, thank you.
How do we know it's been posted?
We would check on it. I didn't do it myself. It's not my application, but we check to make sure that it gets, that there's posting.
We know that it was noticed because, one of our members was properly noticed. Okay, before we spend a little time discussing this, any comments,
Well, the deck was built too close to the property line. That's basically it. And with the building permit was issued, it was not, it did not approve this in this location. Is that right? Obviously.
right,
The
that's why
building
they're
permit
here.
would not have approved. I know, it's why they're here. So basically, it's just a question of that small area of the 1.5 foot of the deck.
Go ahead, Terry, you have any?
It seems to me okay. There's already screening that looks like it's there. I don't know that we would require any more revegetation.
We have to covenant the screen.
And Joe, any comments?
Yeah, I don't,
I think,
give them a new tape measure.
I think the question before us too is, does it meet the variance standards, the 5 variance standards? I think they do.
Yeah,
It is a de minimis, request. I think it is also self-created, but I think the screening would mitigate that in this case.
And it
So can we
doesn't
condition it that the screening remain?
covenant
Should
to retain the
Yes, I-
screening.
Probably could do that.
Yeah.
But just on that, okay, so in the past, what we've done, and we be careful when we condition it, because when we say the screening, if we don't define how much screening, then it could be taken that all the screening needs to be maintained. So I would like to say, what's the length of the request of that patio? Right? And maybe we go 10 feet either side of it or something like that. You know, we have to be fair. We can't,
Yeah, it could be an arbitrary interpretation in the
yeah,
future.
if we don't define it.
You gonna measure that for us?
Yep.
$23 feet.
24 probably, if you.
So if
really
we say
measured it.
30 feet,
30 foot of screening.
30 feet of screening that side of the patio, I think that's fair.
And that 30 foot is centered on the stone patio.
Are we okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. Thank you, council. You okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't think we make a motion now. We wait for the resolution.
Right, I'll write a formal resolution for this one.
On other decisions, we have Hillary Evans at 22 Broadview Road, Narragansett, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-104-2-29.1, and that is a modification of a 2022 NRSP to add additional sand and beach grass to a coastal bluff face.
Okay, so the board may be well aware of this one. This house was approved a number of years ago, it's constructed. They came in a few years ago now to do a restoration along the toe here of the bluff. Some of it was washed away over the winter. And I believe they came in again to do some restoration work on that. And now they want to do a modification in order to essentially put back what was again lost over the winter. We don't have any objections to the modification. We are concerned with it being done poorly. It should be implemented properly. Any beach grass planting should be done as early as possible, prior to May if they can get it done. There is limited erosion actually in front of the house. A lot of the erosion that's been occurring has been further down. But overall, we don't have an issue with the modification and allowing them to bring back a little bit of the sand that was lost and then plant with beach grass again in order to help stabilize that restoration.
So how do you make sure it's implemented
Right, I
properly?
mean, was there a protocol submitted?
I don't know. It's not my application. It was originally done.
Very good question.
Essentially, the issue that we've had with it is that it often gets done later in the spring into summer, and the beach grass doesn't have a lot of time to establish itself, which is what you would want prior to winter when it then gets hit with winter storms. So ideally, you would get it done early, get it planted prior to May and in April at some point in time, so that it has the whole summer to establish itself, grow and get that root system really set prior to
Right,
winter.
and I believe this, like you said, this was done, it was done late in the, or early in the fall. It didn't have enough time to establish, and therefore,
Right.
and it was, from my recollection is, it was recommended that it be done in the spring, so that beach grass. So it's a very good, valid question, I think Member Savarese raises, is there a construction protocol? Furthermore, Brian Frank this afternoon wrote a review, and I don't know if we've
That's
had
this.
time to fully review it.
Yeah.
And
It goes
I'm wondering if we
into the
should,
history a lot of what's gone on the
Do we have
property.
to make I mean, I
we don't have
did
to make
see
a
this
decision
submission,
tonight.
but I didn't get a chance to thoroughly review it.
Sure.
If we could,
When
I
did
mean,
this
the
get
modification itself is very straightforward. They're asking to bring back a little bit of the fill that was already approved
Mhm.
and then replant with beach grass.
Yeah, when was it approved? I'm sorry, the original one was
The
February of
original,
22?
the original residence or the original?
The original sand restoration and beach grass.
The original sand restoration was a couple of years ago now. And then they came back asking to sort of supplement that with a little more for what
Yeah.
they had
Yeah, I
lost.
remember we had a
And
discussion
this is the
about when it was
modification of that
planted.
second one that they asked to to reestablish what was lost over the winter. So it's been a number of years at this point.
The conversation at the last approval was basically in the same one we're having now, and that was the time-sensitive nature of the planting. And I think we were trying to expedite that decision to get it as early in the fall as possible, so there might be some growth, even though it was recommended.
It was, I think it was in springtime.
I thought it was
I
spring.
want to say it was around,
But either way, we're in the same position now, because now it's the middle of April.
Why are we being put up against the wall again on the time frame? That's the question I have. It seems like, are we being rushed into a decision because we want to do it in the spring, and if it doesn't, it gets done in the fall, it's not going to be effective again. So the question I have, and I would venture all of us have, is, it seems, why are we being pushed against this timeline?
I guess the other question is it possible to reach out to them and find out if they're capable of doing it by mid-May, early
Well,
May?
it says the project implementation commenced on May. I mean, I'm thinking that's when they would want to do
that
it.
was last year's,
Last year, but
which is that
we'll
now,
probably try to do that this year.
which is the application they're requesting the
Was
modification.
that already?
Is there any commitment on their part that they would venture to get it done this spring?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of, but I would imagine that's the whole purpose.
It's the 18th.
But
I think.
we don't know that, right?
Right,
So we're
yeah,
going
I
to approve a
don't know.
modification and we don't have that.
Well, that's why I want to know, is it possible to reach out to them and find out if we were to expedite it, are they going to follow through?
And what is the process?
So could certainly, reach out. It would essentially be the same process as it was a modification of the original approval for this. So
Mhm.
it'd be the same process of
Yeah,
sand,
I'm
sand,
gonna
bringing
voice
sand
the
in
same-
and then revegetate.
Yeah, I'm
Your
thinking-
concern, the same
yeah.
concern the chair has here, and that is that this should have maybe been in front of us on February 15th and not April 15th,
I
so
would
that we'd had time to adequately review the proposals, the protocols, and then make a decision. Here we are, fully well aware that if we don't approve it now, they're going to run out of time. But that puts us in an awkward spot. We're going to approve, as the chair said, a modification we don't fully understand.
Mhm. We
That's
don't really
that's a
know.
potential problem
When
for
did
us
they
as a
apply for the
board.
modification?
Can I make a suggestion, board members?
March 31st, I believe.
I'm wondering if we should make a suggestion to table this for a week. Maybe next week we pick this up, but we have late information we should be chewing on a little bit.
Mhm.
And I think that somebody should reach out to the applicant
Yeah.
and say, the board is looking for a commitment that if they make a decision, that it's going to be done this spring.
I think that's the right suggestion.
I agree.
I agree.
We can do that. Are there any restrictions, Tyler, in the town that they can't do beach replenishment after a certain time at Albert's Landing?
After a certain time, no. There's no, it would have to be baked into any individual application. Let's say there's plovers in an area or something like that, or lease terns that are, protected species. The zoning board might want to include, no work between these dates
Yeah.
for short nesting birds, but not by default does that exist.
There was also a
Nothing like
conversation, I think, at the last hearing about an adjacent beach that was used. Isn't that right? Not right?
The
And bringing
Alberts, I think.
They were using Alberts, yeah.
come in
This
off
is the-
bringing the
Alberts.
sand through Alberts during a season when people are using it would not
they had
be.
to get permission from the town board in order to do so. There was a number of things involved in that as well, yeah.
So do
So
I need to make a motion, put it over to next week? Yes.
I think that's a good idea.
You have to make a motion or
Counsel?
just table it?
Or I think we're
Table
just
it.
tabling
I
it.
think we just table it.
Okay, we're okay with that?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
That's it. I think we have our minutes of approval for April 18th, 2023.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for the East Hampton Town Zoning Board of Appeals for April 11th, 2022.
Second. I concur.
I concur.
I concur as well. Well, this can go down in the record book. Thank you. I'll now ask my vice chair to do the honors.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a motion to close the Town of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, public hearing and work session for April 18th, 2023 at 7:11 PM.
7-Eleven. Oh, I'm gonna go buy that.
Second.
I concur.
I concur. Thank you.